is alphabetical colleague here in Baltimore's Inner Harbor, Pier 5. Welcome. You rock the diaspora. And so do I. This is the Chesapeake Bay, on the East Coast. It covers from Maryland to Virginia, the southern part of the state, right? Indigenous Peoples Day was Monday. I wanted to bring awareness to the fact that they are also part of the diaspora, and many of us are interconnected heritages. How are y'all doing? Good to see y'all again. Check in, as always, into connected community, ongoing conversation about identity, about our place in the world. So, sorry for not going live on Indigenous Peoples Day. It was eerily windy, I did want to point that out. And the wind died down around evening of that day. Didn't really pick up since. Been calmer. I'm wondering if there's a message to that. Kind of a spiritual undertone to the winds. That kind of righteous anger and ancestral rage that lets us know that work still needs to be done, right? What does Indigenous Peoples Day mean to you? I'm always interested in that kinfolk. That's why we're listening to Lil Sims, Nigerian English artist. And we'll be talking about history, both of East Coast, DMV, and of the diaspora in general. How we got to this point, why we make the music we do, protesting shows as always, and we'll be going live again this weekend. So Baltimore, where I am right now, that is actually an English version of an ungalicized, aka Gallic language word, which means town of the hills. And there's tons, thousands of research pieces, right, on what Baltimore means, and Lord Baltimore, and the etymology, right, of English still don't really know what Baltimore meant in the original language of the Piscataway people who live here. Still to this day, right, alongside the Lumbee, alongside descendants of the Susquehannock. What does that mean? It means that for all of the effort that we put into European history, right? There's still so much mystery surrounding pre-colonial identity, right? I have no knowledge of the original name of Baltimore. And Alexandria too, the city that I live in. That's astounding to me. Just the uneven distribution of knowledge and importance attributed to knowledge. The Piscataway named many things, right? The air, the water, the things that they loved, right? The land too that they loved. But I'm not sure if they saw the land as theirs to dominate, as theirs to give a name to. That speaks to the ideology that sustained them for thousands of years, but also unfortunately led to their downfall. The Baltimore accent. Nice to talk to you, hon. How you doing? I'm fine. It's a hot day. It's kinda like Queens when I moved there and I went to like St. John's University, right? Like the very eastern part of Queens, the borough near Long Island. I was like, this is really similar. And you know where that comes from is, just the colonization of the East Coast. German, Irish, English settlers, right, all living in the same place. And the mingling of dialects. When you think about the different accents that are present in New York City, and the major East Coast cities, right, the Mid-Atlantic, DC, Baltimore, you realize that there's definitely a history in terms of like linguistics there. It's important to know. It's extremely important to pay attention to. It's like, okay, I can see. And yet, just the place names as well, different cities in Maryland, for example, Gaithersburg, right? Germantown, very to the point with that. Schifferstadt, which is a famous mansion in Frederick. Frederick itself being a German name, right? And again, people are fairly aware of these things. We learn them in class, right, as we're growing up in America and the United States. But I've always been hungry for and sad that we haven't had the knowledge of our African past and our indigenous past as Native American people, right? Hi, Kwame. We'll be talking about Ghanaian history and fashion too, because I'm wearing some of the Adinkra symbols, Akafena, the warrior swords. I made a skirt out of the fabric I bought from a Ghanaian American fabric provider. She's really cool. It's my first design, and I'm really proud to be sharing that with you. That is my way of honoring the diaspora, right? That's my way of harkening back to who we were, but also who we are, in the present right now. That's also Afrofuturism, right? All eras at once, honoring our identity at all time periods. From the times that we were, Bambara, etc., Ewe, if you're Italian, to 2024. And yeah, some of us, a lot of us, most of us learned the hard way, who we are, the emphasis put on European heritage and that past, and the anger and kind of the entitlement when African and indigenous people take back, these place names and, talk about, our heritage, right? What has meaning to us. So it had meaning to the Piscataway people, right? The folks that lived in Baltimore, and still to this day, was nature, right? Was each other, was peace, but a peace that almost was like unquestioned, that was permeating but not lasting, not everlasting. And you saw that actually like emerging from like the Paleolithic period, you know, like the pre-piscataway times, when different tribes began to emerge, the Susquehannock, right, the Lenape, the Piscataway. The Susquehannock being more martial, right, and being very wary of Europeans, saw what was going to happen, right? They definitely foresaw that colonization was going to sweep the entire eastern side of the shore. The Piscataway never had a thought that they would be conquered. So when they encountered John Smith and the colonists of that era, the Tayac, the chief, thought that they were their friends. Perhaps, definitely, they were some of the most pacifist, you know, Pacific people in the indigenous community. Kind of like hobbits and Lord of the Rings. Gandalf rightfully said they were completely unprepared for the threat at hand because they were just so content being who they were, you know, that they never saw the world as a danger, right? Or if they did see the world as a danger, it wasn't for them to worry about, to be armed for. So around the 1600s, right, almost a century after Columbus, they who shall not be named, the English decided that they wanted to catch up to Spain and France. And actually Sweden, because at this point Sweden had conquered some of Delaware. This is when the Piscataway entered the town, right? Up until the end, I do want to give them credit. They tried to maintain peaceful conflict resolution. Without arms, right? Without weapons. Even though they have them. It was around 1630, right, when it became kind of clear weren't going anywhere, right? King Charles II had plans for Virginia, Maryland, D.C., etc. The Susquehanna were at war with the English Empire at this point. But they were also fighting the Iroquois, even though they were an Iroquois tribe. The official Iroquois Confederacy also was trading with Europeans, as you know, fur trade. They ended up losing the war because they couldn't fight two fronts at once, right? And surrendering to the English and losing pretty much all of their land and moving to reservations, being forced onto reservations. The Scots win the trade first, right, with the Europeans, thinking that they could keep their territories and be protected by the English because the landlords, and this is important context, y'all, English landlords who set the precedent for ownership to this day promised the Piscataway and the Susquehanna that they would keep tobacco farmers and white militias away from their territories and their villages. They failed to do that. In fact, many of them actually allied with the militias to invade Native American villages and communities and move them to modern-day reservations. That is the history of Baltimore. That is the history of D.C. That is the history of Alexandria. All along the Chesapeake, wherever the Potomac River runs, you have the story of corruption and colonization and betrayal. But it started with peace with the Piscataway, and apprehension with the Susquehanna, and rightfully so. Whenever I think about the schism between those two tribes, the trust of the invader versus the defense against them, I wonder what an alternate history would be like. What would the world be like if the Piscataway and the Susquehanna actually allied together to oust Europeans instead of welcoming them, at least from one of those parties, right? It's hard to say. You can't change time. carry right consequences. It simply is the unfortunate result of the trade that was based on faith. The Baltimore now is named for the English, and not because that's all. The younger generation, unfortunately, and I did want to say, would end up being part of the boarding school, right, of Native American youth who were indoctrinated to become white, and many of them resisted, most of them did, at a cost. But they held on to, who they were. Indigenous people, Indigenous Peoples Day. But that's every day, right? So, why is this important? Why is the history of these cities relevant? Well, because this laid the groundwork for the transatlantic slave trade, just as indigenous people to this continent were enslaved and forced into controlled living. So were people from the motherland as well, right? And this conjoined subjugation of peoples. So there's a contract we have as people of the diaspora to defend, right, to decolonize, to develop, right? And they understood that too, but unfortunately, the piscatory learned too late. Again, if you want to know the African history of Baltimore, during the colonial era and pre-colonization, in terms of like kinfolk being here, there are several manifests available in the New York Public Library online. You can just type in slave manifest ships on Google. There's at least 3 different voyages from Alexandria between there and different parts of the Deep South. Two of them were named after places in Maryland, right? Maryland itself and Baltimore. That is because the Potomac was a major conduit for merchants, traffickers, slavers. That is still a current dialectic. We have a responsibility to fight supremacy. We've always had that responsibility to fight supremacy, but now more than ever, you know what the costs are if we don't do so, We cannot make the same mistake of allowing supremacy to command nature, to use nature to its will. And to oust us, from our own destiny, to oust us from our own agency. You have a duty to yourself to protect your autonomy and to say that Black people deserve better. That is why Rock the Diaspora formed. That's why we have always been on the path of anti-fascism, but specifically surrounding our people. And that would be even if we weren't, kinfolk, but especially because that's home. It's home to a lot of folks. Native American people never left here. It's just we don't name Baltimore after them. But we named the Chesapeake after them. Piscataway means the place where the river's been. If you're wondering where that Pocahontas song comes from, she's from the Powhatan tribe. But the Piscataway are also Algonquin. It's gonna be alright. Sometimes you gotta fight. And that's why I told the story of the Piscataway, not just because it's relevant to who we are, and like the place places that we navigate every day. But because I know it's difficult and not all of our nature, right, to want to resist and stand up against oppression. It is scary. It's daunting. That is why the Tiac would rather have made peace with the Europeans when they saw them and their guns, right? Because they knew the cost of war. But the Susquehannock were prepared to bear those costs because they knew the long term in the future. That's also important, is knowing when to pick your battles, right? It's something to think about. Just like we're gonna be talking about trivia, get your brain going and flowing. And also, just kick back and listen to some music and really rock the diaspora. Our DiasporApparel is, second to the message that we are important, we are loved, and we are worth knowing. Let's read the comments first, before we listen to some music, because you are the soundtrack now, your words. They even tried to enslave the Native Americans, said Dion, but couldn't do so, right? Because the Native Americans would run away and come back with more people, more weapons. And more than likely, they're just a hair bush away from where the white men live. Exactly. So, a point being made to that, now white landlords and proprietors, a fancy, word for landlords back then, and officials had the issue of trying to create buffers, right, divide and conquer with the Susquehannock, but then realizing the Susquehannock's territory kind of made this crescent and the Piscataway territory, so they couldn't avoid them entirely. Not only that, but they couldn't promise the Piscataway or the Susquehannock that white people wouldn't, respond to them in racist fear and, try to steal their land, or on their land. At this point, the tobacco trade was already booming. Cotton trade was already, accelerating, and then that's when the thought came, the very evil thought, that they needed more labor, right? Where would they get it from? Fighting a ground terrestrial battle, you have to think like military tactics. This is their home turf. You're not going to win that war. The best bet would to be, use the different communities to fight each other and then tire them out. After that, you simply come in and then assume leadership over what's left. Where that failed is that the Susquehanna did not surrender quietly, even when they went to reservations, right? Militia's, attempts to take over a lot of the Piscataway's territory didn't entirely succeed because there is reasons that they didn't live in certain areas, right? Certain natural threats. It's not good terrain to live on, or to grow land, farmland. They know, their country. The Europeans were constantly having to adjust to survival and not knowing if they didn't, make certain pacts or learn from the people that were already here. Now we have to fight against their own people. Well, that's always been an issue, even back where we were, in Africa. Especially actually when we're back in Africa. I wouldn't call it tribal warfare so much as like inter-regional conflict. At this point, there are different empires that are rising and falling. And the borders were forever fluctuating, between the Hausa, Sokoto Caliphate within that, and what we call the Western Sudan, which is modern day Ghana, and a lot of the Ashanti Kingdom, right? Senegal as well, and Gambia. And there are so many ways we can fight. You're right, Marshall. And I agree, Dion. Yeah, give the Native Americans back their land. This is the thing, is many Native Americans, and this is complicated, also participated in the white supremacist subjugation of African peoples. There were some that allied with us against Europeans. There were some, the five, tribes, Choctaw, Creek, Cherokee, Seminole, who else? Did I say Chickasaw? That would be the fifth. So like 5 different Native American tribes, unfortunately, were all gung-ho for, the white man. The Piscataway not as much. And I'll tell you why. They had already paid, the price of allying with them. But if you are an African American who claims descent from any of those 5 tribes, you are technically by law entitled to land, right? This is why they're called freedmen, because we were owned by one of those tribes. The allotment from the Dawes rolls, or, the list of different African and indigenous people, is how you would claim that land, right? The reparations that were owed to us as Black Native American people. Hello, good to see you. We have more guests. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being part of the dialogue at the diaspora. Speaking of which, we have more Afro-diasporic fashion for you. We are modeling some of that in Graffiti Alley. That's why we came to Baltimore, in addition to, just soak in the culture and the history. Talk about, the Black presence here and what we can do as a community to really just get past these stereotypes and the realities of Baltimore. Beautiful city, hard-working people, extremely forward-thinking, progressive. A lot of abandonment, a lot of poverty, a lot of deep wounds and mistrust of authority here. And that was before Freddie Gray, that was before the protest in the mid-2010s about police brutality. Because Freddie Gray's in itself, like, he is a conversation about, like, white flight, and how much of Baltimore was abandoned, and, just kind of left to figure itself out without any help, I think we're getting to a point now where we're finally, like, trying to plug in the resources that allows this city to thrive, and just, like, the Mid-Atlantic, the East Coast in general. But it's a struggle for a lot of people to even, like, speak up and feel comfortable about what they need, to ask for help. When you're part of the diaspora, for Black people, I think we've already gone through so much that it feels like kind of an act of shame, a very humbling thing to be like, yo, like, I need you, I need, access to, like, resources, I need something. It's like, that is why RTD is here. To facilitate the dialogue for needs and to really just kind of, like, unwork a lot of the shame around assistance. Reparations being part of that, You're probably wondering, what does it have to do with Native Americans and the Dawes rules? Well, some of us probably don't even realize that we were enslaved by Native Americans, right? So we have a compounded and a duly layered oppression to work against and to earn, our lickbacks from. The 40 acres and a mule, it's probably, and then plus, if you come from the 5 tribes. So look that up for sure, especially if you're Cherokee, cause, yo, like, they're wild. I care what anybody says. And if you're from Georgia, Tennessee, a lot of the southeast United States, I know we feel like ancestry tests are controversial, they are, but I already knew that, like, I was from West Africa. I wanted to kind of find, like, the official historical documents through that search engine. Like, okay, some of us probably from Goa territory. Geechee. What does that mean? The Goa Geechee people's community lives in, like, what is it called? Hilton Head Island, right? South Carolina, low country, and take that as you will. They're fuller, right? So, we again have, like, language changing during migration time. The Fuller have always called themselves that, right? But when they came here, they became Gullah. And some of the words that they speak actually still carry the same connotations as back home in Senegal, right? And the different places where you can find the Fuller people. Yeah. The walk, exactly. The walk from the deep south to out west. So there is, again, like a dual migration for many people who are black and of Native American heritage. It's a shame. It's a real shame. But it needs to be talked about now. Speaking of Fuller, I have these little dabby chants if you want to hear them. Are you interested? I don't like pushing my musical taste on folks, but I know y'all love musicology and kinfolk energy. These chants are during their yearly festival where the guys dress their best and get out to impress the women of their community and find wives. The sounds that they make are imitating, cranes, herons, different, like, graceful animals of nature. And I think that's really cool. To emulate nature in a way that, like, you're kind of admiring it, especially in, like, the way that you find someone that you want and you love. I thought that was really cool. It's very eerie, but I guess I imagine, like, a lot of the birds in Africa kinda do have this eerie orchestra, if you listen to them. The album is called, Sounds of the Sahel, I believe. Let me make sure I get it right. music of a song. Yeah, someone's making like the bird chirping sounds. He's imitating the main bird when they fly. Could they make this like kind of like groaning sound or like a long groaning? And I was like, no. Cause if I didn't know that they were imitating either, it wouldn't make sense to me. Again, rivers being very important to the center of congregation for African people. Nigeria, the birthplace of blues, of modern sound, is where the Red Army lived, this community but they travel, right? They're pastoralists, so they go where the rains fall. They don't stay in one place for about 3 months or 4 months of the year. They're nomadic. They travel with the herds, the cattle, the sheep, the goats. They come back. Me being a descendant of the fall myself, I'm definitely nomadic. You see me all over the place. You're probably wondering, like, why is she always like so transient? Why is she always going places? Well, it's just an ancestral thing for me, you know? I think some of us, even if it's not in our blood, we like to go places and like see the world and travel. But for us, I think it's like a necessity. My family. In many ways, you know, even if it's not the same fields, you know, and the same like continent, the habits are still there. Hope you enjoy this chance. And you're welcome to tell me your thoughts about African history and heritage and where you're from and where you think you might have roots. Always going to be like fascinating to me and important to me, you know, and anyone on earth. got some Ethiopian funk swing from the revolutionary era of the 70s. Samuel Ballet, I know Kish Yedek. Madlib sampled this. Lead conductor in Africa. One of the best crate diggers in the world. I already knew about this song, but he really put a lot of people on with that album. I'm glad that he made that. This guy gets special. I know she should have been. I would never get a New York again. That is so funny. Especially you being so West Coast. Ugh, the beef is real. It's also just it's a cultural shock. For me, I went to school there, and I just always had this deep reverence and love for, New York culture because so much of the music and the trends and the people that I knew were explicitly New York, from the take back to my classmates in college, people that I met throughout my lifetime. To the fashion for sure, the wearing all black. Mainly just so you don't get arrested and everybody looks the same. But also because we've talked about how quick golf is definitely a thing. New Yorkers being so used to death, and a lot of them being descended from Colombians. Colombians have a very, blasé attitude towards this because of their belief system, right? Yoruba, white influence, and influence. If you're Haitian, for sure, you probably have a widely understanding of the afterlife and ancestry. I definitely know that Biggie for sure made Jamaica had some good influences. Ready to Die and Life After Death are definitely statements in and of themselves about how we view ourselves as we're alive. As we pass, and our influence, and the metaphysical talked about this, Dion and Marshall was like, to be black is kind of already to be naturally doxed because we're having to accept reality on way darker times in every sense of that. Speaking of which, we're gonna listen to Earth Gang, cause Earth Gang's from the West Coast, but, you know, like, let's, they talk about death too, fam, like, they're like, getting all existential, talking about like, where would we be if I was not here? If, you know, history wasn't already written for black people in many ways, like, talk to me now, speak loud and clear. Where would I be? Our life as like black people, like the reality of how we got here is an Americanized story. Like verbatim, like the sentence, like we endured slavery, you know, we're the champions. we emerged and we survived. Like, that in itself is like, I think most people still don't want to talk about it, even amongst like our people. Like, it's like immediate vibe killer slash silence inducer. Like, hey, remember that time like we all like went through slavery and actually like lived? Like, I think I'm a god. Like, you really have to accept it and embrace it at some point. Is the death of identity and like the rebirth of somebody else is double consciousness. W.B. Du Bois talked about that. Tupac talked about that in his own way. We've all talked about that, like, hey, like, I feel like I'm somebody else, but not, and if you are, like, by the way, so us have multiple personalities. Some of us might be schizophrenic. We might feel like we're somebody else a lot of the time. But then you add just the kind of universal experience all of us feel as if we were somebody before we were here. Who was that? And who were we? Feel free to do your own research about who you are. So we got some shows to list. And we'll show you the factions afterward. These are trivia. Wednesday, past Wednesday, we'll list like shows coming up next time. We have Rumor, we have Police, Sarah, we had Girl 71, and Petty Supersonic. Among Ruins, really dope, and Raven Feast, Metal Cave Club, Warsaw, Poland, Eastern Europe, or Central Eastern Europe. High on Fires on tour, with Weed Eater and Autolift. Growlers, Memphis, Tennessee was the spot. God Show, also in the Deep South. With Discern and Swarmflies. Will we dreams? Feel free to. You don't have to if you don't want to. I understand. I'm open-minded about these things. There's open mic night every Wednesday. Adams, Oregon. That's in Adams, Oregon. Northwest. Really cool, usually like a mixture of genres, mainly, like, Cuban, like, Latino, jazz, really cool shit. Telekinetic Yeti's also on tour, with Stoner Lords Barkinator, Bleak Shore, Metro Gallery, Baltimore. I actually passed there on the way to the spot. Pretty cool video. Definitely recommend if you're in town ever. That'll be Wilmington, Old Town. Speaking of metal, Wage War, Era, Metalcore, Thorn and Company, we're at the Fillmore, Silver Spring, mushroom head, a pot of burning body, there is no us, we're at Silent Ballroom in Sandersville, New Jersey. I forget how far that is from NYC, but New Jersey's definitely putting it on for heavy music. Don't sleep on it. Holy Wire, Endearments, and Alex Asterix were at the Broadway in Bushwick, Brooklyn on Wednesday. And last but not least, Lexi Mangoni and Sweeney's Special Station, Philly. Thursday, for protest, there was a protest on, let's see, Georgetown University campus in DC, right? In Healy Hall, because students for Palestine all day. For shows though, over in Ireland, there was spud guns, yeah, being super politically correct there. But I guess if they're Irish, it's cool. The avocados and microplastics. Federally Geese is dope. I wanna go there at some point. Telekinetic Yeti is so dope, like, the music literally sounds like a stone Yeti for real, like the abominable snowman. I'm so serious. I forget the first song I heard by them, but I was just like so blown away. It's like, this is so thematic, like, iconic music. Not everyone's taste for metal will turn me on. Cheers! The Arson Project, other metal that's not everyone's taste, but I dig it, and punk rock, antisocial rejects, Blitz Oslo, Norway. Sabbath, Stress Angel, and Bosch, formerly Airtex, Goth Band, Bosch Social and Supply, that was last Thursday in Atlanta, Georgia. Lorna Shore, yes, them. Kidney Whitechapel, Anaheim's House of Blues, Spring Slow Fiction Company, Denver, Colorado, the Globe Hall, Satan Sayers on tour, they performed with CC Gladiator, Coffin at the Pie Shop in DC. It was sick. Soda Rock is so good. Like, what? Like, High on Fire is like life-changing part two in this day and age. Like, honestly, like, they're pretty standard too. Hey, you're always welcome here. You're part of the diaspora and you rock. We've been talking about Baltimore, the East Coast, like our peoples, and what we can do to really embrace each other and support each other with the resources that we have. How are you doing? Yeah, like, Northern European metal was dope, but we always gotta have the conversation about what the hell they're talking about, some of them, and like, a lot of these promoters that are bringing them over here, knowing that they're nationalists. Knowing that their supremacists as well. Several bands like Blizzard and Tank, like, the diaspora's already had their encounters with them and they've made it clear that they don't support us, so it's weird to have folks, like, still booking them. Friends with them too, that. But it's a statement, and like, if they're going to make that statement, then I will state out loud, I do not like nationalist bands from Northern Europe. The wild part is that's not even the majority of metal, but they're a big part of metal, a very vocal part of metal, unfortunately. And they scare a lot of people off, that is the point, though. And I can't tell black people to engage in metal and, like, ignore the risks there. There is definitely risk to your self-esteem, to, like, your actual, like, person. It's not easy, being, like, in a community that's marginalized, because when you enter a subculture like metal, you're further at risk of being harmed and people not really understanding or stepping in, right? It's more about preserving the overall good that's already, kind of underground. But if you're a metalhead and, like, you rock, like, heavy, like, don't let them tell you shit, Like, this is for you. This music has always been for you and for me. That's what I gotta say about that. There's a really cool band third face, and a rock her, which is what I call black women in rock, is lean. Killing as always. Song's called Villains. Oh, Victor Wooten's also on tour. Bass. Legend. Garrett Blanchett on stage. We're gonna scare everybody at the hotel tonight. You tell your roommate the same. What do you tell them? Oh, open mic night, by the way. Hagerstown, Maryland. I didn't even know that they had at the park open mic night every Thursday. But check it out. It's happening. Testament, creator, possessed. Belmont Theater, Montclair, New Jersey. Pretty sure they're in the local area too. Coming up on did perform. Testament is badass. Go check them out. Heavy's like death metal. Same with Creator, they're German, and Possessed. This is why we need to create black metal bands of all genres. What is wrong black stoner metal bands? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, well, old blood is like stoner metal, like stoner jazz metal, which is actually kinda cool. But it's not like an old black or primarily black band. That's a conversation I've had that gets people a little tight too. But like, they're there. Like, don't get me wrong, like, black people are in these genres, but it's not like we're having bands of old, black heritage. That's kind of a different thing. But I gotta give props everywhere. It's just, it is like not quite the same, When it's like two black people and then like three white ones, or like the main, vocalist or guitarist, or both, is, black, but everybody else is like non-black. I reserve my judgment. Just like I reserve my judgment on the fact that a lot of people's hip-hop rap collectives are mainly non-black. In a genre that, black and Latino people created. Hello, how's it going? We got some guests from Kenya, and I appreciate your honesty too, boo. You're always keeping it real. Jazz metal is existing, trust me. Actress, local bands, I'll be listing a show from them. Jazz metal, jazz stoner metal, it's so good, trust me. We got saxophones and everything. But then you got brass bands too. Jazz, rock, metal, covers of heavy shit, with the sister, Grey Path, Hollow Sanctum, Farsight, Tarso, and QXTs in Newark, New Jersey. So, like, they always have, like, goth, heavy, industrial type shit. You definitely like it. Speaking of goth and industrial, there is Grave Rituals, Alex, Afro-Clift, Afro-Goth aesthetic is the vocalist for Grave Rituals. This is West Wing Blood, one of my favorite songs. More though, we can always use more drill jazz. Yeah, like, mix it up, mash it up. We'll be talking more about Caribbean culture and, like, mashing it up too. Like, the hybridization of that identity and, like, how important that is to punk and rock. Like, oh my gosh. If you ever wanna know the history, these different major genres, check out rockthediaspora.org. At the bottom, you'll see metal, rock, and punk. Blues is its own Easter egg. Slash blues slash rock. And we talk about how, because the Caribbean community bashes its own, white people in the United Kingdom who, lived alongside these communities would end up listening to a lot of rocksteady and, hardcore ska music. Then you have the specials, right? The celebrities, etc. But in the video, the guy got hit across the head with the bottle. Right. See, like, that shit is always, I'm telling you, when woman madness and never, welcome to the United States. Milestone Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was last Thursday. And then Jake Shimabukuro, Hawaiian ukulele artist. Atlanta, Winston-Salem. Friday, there was Turn Cold, Palaces, Canopy and Pain, the Earl, Atlanta, Georgia. Treason, Wind Rider, Idle Throne, and Midnight Hellion. Louisville, Kentucky, at the Mag Bar. Urban Heat, Gods of Color, with Night Rituals and Wingtips, Siberia, New Orleans. One of the coolest genres, one of the coolest places to listen to different genres is what I was going to say. And NOLA, alongside Felix's, and I want to say Feed and Seed too. Hey, how's it going? Welcome, DiasporApparel. How's it going, fam? Let's listen to some more stuff. Some nice neo soul. Get into it. With CKY, yeah, like, with Cobot and Chase the Comet, House of Blues, Anaheim again, Carbon Leaf, White Bean, Bluebird Theater, Denver. I ain't been there before, but I hear it's fun. Check it out, you know what I'm saying? Queen, Wilmington, Delaware. I've been there, love it. Early Riser was there with Brian McGee and Blackbirds. Classic rock, you know, your typical, like, hometown hero vibes. Resisting, protesting shows. I got some more stuff for you. I know y'all are being patient for the trivia. We got some opportunities to win some free merch and DiasporApparel. We are not just clothing anymore. We got nice tech. Speaking of the big reveal, what's that, yo? That's our Roots Run Deep, so that you can rock the sound and literally get as deep with the bass and the sound shit cracks. I'm pretty happy about it. If you charge it for a good 2 hours, you can get to 2.5 hours sound. We're gonna be having a pop-up party in NYC, so if you're in the area on the 30th, stop on by Prospect Park. If you know, you know. Back to the show, though. Protesting Euro 68 in Kawadashi. Speaking of black punks and hardcore, we're at the Rec Room in Buffalo, New York, upstate. It's Island 213, Fellowship, Glass, Impulse Machine, The Cave, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. 38 Special, Pins Peak, Denver, Pennsylvania. Shattered Figures, The Digits and Company, Phillies the Fire. Emo Night in Brooklyn, Virginia Beach, that was Friday night. Elevation 27. Prospect Park is nice, you know? Like, there's so many beautiful, just like, vibrant parts of New York City that you couldn't possibly say are, like, completely associated with that. Even though there's so much colonization that made New York City. There's also, like, explicitly places that people of color and black people go, you know, and they're beautiful. And Native American too, you know, by the hot tub, you know. And then Victoria, King Dick Clayton, right? The meeting of 5 places, right? That's Astor Place now. You know, St. Mark's Place. You know, like that metro station where, like, these 5 different roads meet? Those were all, like, indigenous pathways and avenues, you know. Flatbush itself being a major walkway from Canarsie all the way to Lower Manhattan, you know. All white people really did was reclaim these things, and we hated it. But you can definitely see it, right, in terms of the thought process of, like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, like, we as pedestrians just had a major, like, thorough, fair way so we can reach each other, make this place walkable. Yeah, to this day, New York City is one of the most walkable, pedestrian-friendly places on earth. Minus the drivers that are super aggressive. Why? Because indigenous people laid the groundwork for that. They're the reason that Manhattan is what it is. And that's for better, that's not for worse. Shout out to Indigenous America, the Lenape, the people that were there before Stuyvesant showed up, little fun facts for you. You're just listening to Dogmatic, by the way. The song's called Open. Ninja Tune is a really cool label. Eastside. Y'all probably know a lot of people in Ninja Tune. I was talking to Juiceline from Afroflux, which is like a sci-fi slash Black geek-friendly organization, Afrofuturist organization in Birmingham, England, about how Ninja Tune is amazing but also problematic, right? And they're kind of appropriation of black sound through white artists, right? Kind of like the jungle thing where we saw like back on 74 getting so much popularity and the band Jungle being popular since 2014. But people not really realizing that they're white, like almost entirely white, until now. Because the visuals were black people, right? Black style. Mr. Scruff is dope. Mr. Scruff is not black, but in many ways they kind of became the face of Ninja Tune. And I always found that interesting is how the face of music, the identity of music changes. It becomes revisionist in many ways. Y'all remember this one? This is definitely like New York at the turn of the millennium vibes. Like Mr. Scruff, get a move on. got some shows to finish though. White Live is a black rock Florida in the Virginia area, West Virginia too. Actors, that was the jazz, stoner rock metal band I was telling you about. Performed with Lost Caverns and Baltimore. This is after Nicole Kelly, live from Baltimore's Inner Harbor. Welcome. How's it going? Good morning. We're on the East Coast. For everyone out there who's going to be watching or is watching now, we appreciate you. Currently, we'll be trying to delve into the diaspora vibe, so Fela Kuti is playing Nigerian Afrobeat pioneer. Expensive shit is definitely the jam. It's about their experiences with Nigerian authorities though. Regardless of being creative, no matter where you are, it seems like there's always some friction about how you do it, especially if it's not conformist. But that's why I love Fela Kuti. And that's why I rock with y'all who push against the grain and different stuff. We represent you too. We're actually about y'all. More than we're about, the mainstream a lot of the time. But y'all been listening to what's good. What's Rick been up to? I promised that I would play the mashup of Jimi Hendrix and Wu-Tang Clan. songs. Jimmy's guitar work is immaculate. We're talking about how he was the first black rock artist in Woodstock. We're listening to the switch out. It's a fusion of Jimi Hendrix and Wu-Tang Clan. Shit's weird as hell, man. It's only on SoundCloud. What's one of your favorite Wu-Tang songs? Also, I saw your video, like your cameo, with your fiance. I was like, oh, superficially on video. Good stuff. I'm so proud of this. What are you up to this morning? You're such a pleasant surprise. I say that like anytime. You're welcome, always. I wanna hear from you. I'm ready to listen to what you have going on. that's definitely the cut though. Like, it's hard not to have that be your favorite. For me, it might be, say like this, or Daytona 500. It's so catchy. So last live cut out, my dear. Feel free to talk about whatever you like. We're just talking about Indigenous Peoples Day, right? Because that's what Monday was. And I was like, yo, like the whole East Coast and like where we live, like New York, Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, there's a lot of places that are named after Indigenous people, and there's a lot of places like Baltimore where I'm not sure what they named it before Europeans were here. And I was also thinking about that in regards to the reservations and stuff, and hurricane relief, and Appalachia, and North Carolina. It was like, Hawaii was like really devastating, you know? And then Milton, I think, is like on its way, but I'm not sure if, I feel like, I'm not sure if they're like prepared for that, or if it's going to be as sticky bad as the previous one. I need to be on it like you and follow your lead, because I think I could be way more well-informed. Appalachia has always been like a really beautiful region, but like hard to get to, and never rich, like never had especially for like black people in Appalachia and North Carolina, like, it's always been like a mixture of like acceptance, and discrimination, I've like seen that firsthand, like traveling through the mountains, in West Virginia and stuff, and like North Carolina too. Do I feel like not respecting indigenous land can lead to spiritual turmoil? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, I'll tell you mine too, like not to like throw it back at you. Oh, yeah. I think that's led to a lot of like social turmoil for me, and I feel bad because I could like phrase it differently, or like, I guess, like, time it better, like when I kind of bring these things up, because I have that, like, spiritual, like, turmoil. I feel like we should be more respectful of it, but then I also feel like there's so much we don't talk about. In America, just like going about our day-to-day stuff, like just the basic reality of like, this is other people's land still, and they still are here with us, alongside us. And then some of them have passed on, The last live, we were talking about just like the history of Baltimore, just like straight like facts about how Southern Maryland became like English owned, right? And then what we now know today as like, the city of Baltimore, more Baltimore. They made a deal with the English because in their minds they didn't think they had anything to lose. They were peaceful, like they seemed like they were warriors because they carried spears and stuff, but like for the most part they just kept to themselves, and they made arts and crafts, and they fished in the Chesapeake Bay, and when the English came, John Smith, like, around the same time, I think he might have been a big part of the reason that settlers came to Maryland. The Susquehanna, the Susquehanna River, right? The tribe that it's named after. It's like, we don't trust them. So they went to war with English, but Scott Delay decided that they were going to oppose the Susquehanna. But the Susquehanna saw it coming, right? They were like, something's going to happen, like this is going to lead to more conflict and more takeover. And I think as a result of that kind of disagreement between how Native Americans handled what was happening, and then the taking of the land, right? And then the eventual and the first time I learned that, I wasn't always thinking about that, right? I was like, it seems like, cause like Canarsie is like the actual spot in Brooklyn. I was like, it seems like the road ends up there, and then works its way up to, comes from, lower Manhattan and higher. And then I found out, that whole place in Astor was called, the meeting of the five roads. And I was like, damn, shit hasn't really changed that much, but it's just like the people aren't there anymore, they're kind of scattered throughout Jersey and New York and Pennsylvania. Shit's just different, that's my main concern. It turns into like a kind of enabling hoarding, unfortunately. If you don't apply like the right kind of mindset, or you get a little too worried about like hypotheticals, that's like a real, I think, concern with doomsday prepping, just trying to be prepared for emergency situations, you know, but it's good to be able to grow, it's good to know, and it's just good to be prepared. Just in case. I know sometimes people say just in case, but I don't know. How's it going over in Kenya? We got more guests. Good to have you all here. No, I totally agree with you. You're so right about all this, Taylor. I was just talking to a friend that I'm not like friends with anymore. I was just like, I just think there's a lot of unaddressed like tension, and like maybe we should just talk about things. But I think sometimes people just like would rather just like vibe out and not really get into it. And I get it, you know, like obviously, cause it's just like so natural to like just wanna chill and, you know, not get too deep into things. But it's just like, that's like still hurting you, you know? Yeah, I definitely do think like self-defense and carrying like weapons can be another like taboo topic for doomsday preppers. Yeah, but like that's definitely like why I do agree with you completely about blades and crossbows being part of our history. And especially in terms of like just making sure people are safe and like making like a livable, like clear protecting ourselves with. In general, I want us to, just think about being in a situation where we don't feel embarrassed about having, something of our own, to, defend ourselves. Some blades are genuinely artifacts. Exactly. They carry, history and power and stories. I'm wondering about the ones that I have. From Egypt and from Morocco. I really have no idea about them. It seems like there's a lot going on. But the owner is typical, and that's the problem with this, what happened with Africa is a lot of people end up kind of owning the artifacts, but they don't know about it, the history. They just found it. Which, I totally get it. I can only blame, the person that, acquired it so much that it's damn. I asked them, what do you know about this blade from Cairo? And they was I just found it in the market, famous market, and it's this old, some things are a mystery. That's life too, And then it's making peace with the fact that some stuff is a mystery, or just trying to have pleasure. How's your music been going? I know you have some of your own. You're on both sides, your feature and music, but then you also make your own music. like first started in like the early 90s, like to the late. There was like so much experimental like sound going on. It was like they're still trying to figure out like what the groove was. But I liked it. Music has been great as far as observing the industry and watching people speak up and speak out. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I am like firmly an advocate in speaking out, I've definitely had my pitfalls and like interactions where I'm like, damn, I should have like learned more or like done this or that. I definitely think like accountability is going to be more of a conversation in the industry of music. 100%. Um, I'm glad that you're learning. I'm glad that like you were seeing people, be held to a universal standard and not be able to like skirt out of things. That goes for Diddy, that goes for like Dr. Luke with Kesha. Like anyone can be held to task. Anyone can, especially if they're in a leadership position in the music industry, because they have so much influence across, like not just in the industry, like entertainment has a lot of power, period. As far as making music, every day is a huge learning opportunity. Yes, so you're just trying to learn as much as you can to really give your art more depth. That's so cool. it's a whole vibe. I'm inspired, honestly. It's like, you make it seem easy, but I know you're like learning a lot, and also like this accumulating on the talent that you already have, and that's really good. That's dope. What you got going on for the day?